Hey, Katrina here from CrappyHorses. Welcome to my YouTube channel. I'm so happy you're here. Today I'm sharing a Father's Day card. I want to show you how to make a very simple stencil for some inking. And I want to share how I have altered an image from Cricut Design Space to suit the character of my card. So let's get started. I usually start with my card base. This black is my card blank, and it is 4 1/4 by 5 1/2. Then I came in with designer paper, and that's represented by this brown. And that's also going to be on this side. So there'll be one here and then one here for the inside of the card. I'm going to cut that with my paper slicer. That way I can save a little bit of paper. And so I just cut the black sheet at 8 1/2 by 5 1/2 and then fold it in half. And then I cut 2 pieces of my designer paper. And you will see that when we get to the next part of the video where we put the card together. We're going to start with the top layer of our card. We're going to need 3 rectangles. Going to need one for the top of the card, one for the inside of the card, and one for our stencil. So I already brought in our rectangle for this, and I'll show you how to bring in a shape here in a second, but let's just go ahead to this. I want this to measure 3.75 by 4.92. I'm going to duplicate this to do our inside. And what I'm going to do here is I'm going to right click, left click on duplicate. And I'm just going to bring that one off to the side because that's going to be our stencil. I'm going to repeat that step. Right click, left click on duplicate, and this will be our inside panel. Our inside is going to be 3.38. So I'm going to unlock. Make sure that this is selected just by clicking it. Again, 3.375. And our height is 4.76. I'm just typing this in at my keyboard, 4.76. I'm going to go ahead and lock that back up because I don't want that to move. And this one's already locked up. So let's bring this over and let's start working on this. My grass is from Design Owl. And I'm just going to pull that down here. And then I have my Happy Father's Day. And that sentiment is from Father's Day Daddy. All right, so I'm going to bring that in and slip it over here in the corner. Now this, let's go find this, all right? This branch and bird and tree are from Storybook. All right, so I'm going to come over to Images. Over in this left-hand panel, I'm going to left click. I'm going to type in bird in tree. And there it is. So now I'm going to left click, and that's going to bring it in. So there it is. I'm going to move these off to the side. And now I want branch. Okay, they're going to give us quite a few branches. So I know that my bird and tree and my branch came from Storybook. So I'm going to do this. I'm going to come down here to Advanced Search. I know that that is a cartridge that I had years ago that I purchased. So I'm going to click Purchased. I'm going to come over here to where it says Image Sets. I'm going to click that. Now, I know I want Purchased, and I know that it's not called Bird and Tree. I know that it is called Storybook. And there it is. So now I can click. I have found this cartridge or this image set. I can click that search within my image set branch. I could have typed that in, but I just went ahead and went with that. And there's the one I want. So I'm going to add that to Canvas. And then right down here it says View. All right, so here it is. All right, now you might be looking at this and you might be saying, okay, I see this sort of, and I see this might be this, yes. But how did I get this? All right, this is what I did. First, I selected my bird entry and I flipped him. So I'm going to flip him horizontally. I'm left clicking. And now you can definitely see that I have this. Let me change the color so it's a little easier to see here. There we go. So now you can definitely see I've got this. But what about this? All right, well, let's see how I got that. So now we have this piece. Let's make it smaller. And you can see that that is our little tree right here. All right, so let's just duplicate that. Right click, left click on duplicate, change that to black. I'm gonna come over here. There's a another cut back here. We don't need that. I'm going to delete it by deleting from my keyboard. And now I'm going to come back and now I can just change this to black. And now it's ready. All right, so I'm just going to set it right in here. Now let's figure out what in the world we're going to do with this. So let's do the same thing here. I don't need both pieces. So I'm clicking the caret. I'm clicking this part right here, this second part with the eye closed. I'll open it. See, that's just an outline. I'm going to go ahead and click that and delete. Now all I have is the front part and I'm going to change that to black. Okay, now I'm going to come in and I'm going to grab a shape. So I'm back here on the left-hand side, going to left-click Shapes. I'm just going to pick up a square. I'm going to close that, bring this back over, and I'm going to make this big. And I don't need to do this, I'm just doing this so you can see, okay? So I'm going to come in and I'm going to angle this square just a tiny bit here. And I am going to slice this. So I'm going to take my mouse and I'm running it over the branch and the square, so that selects them both. Over here at the bottom of your right hand panel, you'll see down here it says slice. I'm going to left click. Now I have two pieces. I don't need any of this. I'm going to select it. I'm just going to hit delete on my keyboard. Now I'm going to bring this piece in and I'm going to make it much, much bigger. And I'm just going to bring this piece in now. And I'm going to line this up where I think I would like it. Then I'm going to bring this piece in. I'm going to make it a little smaller. I want it to fit in so that it doesn't overlap on either side. And if I think it's going to, I can always bring that square back, another square. So let's go back, Shapes, left click on square. I can just bring this in. All I did was just pull that. I'll go back and do that again for you so you can see what I did there. I just selected my square and you see how the arrow pops up there? I just place it over and I just push it to make it thinner. That's all I did. And I'm just going to cut off part of this, again, by selecting them both. I may need to move them, actually, because they're selecting more than I want. Now I can slice that. And now I know that I'm not going to run into having any little silly bumps or bubbles there. And I can now move this way up here the way I designed it here. So I can get rid of all of this. Oops. If you make a mistake like that, just come up and hit back and it'll take it right back where it was. I just want to pick these and delete. And I'm going to choose all of this. So I had to pick this branch, and the yellow. And I can come down here to the bottom again and left click, combine, and now left click, weld. And there it is. Now I've got my little black tree. And I've made it this little black tree. I've got it exactly the way I like it. So I can bring this down and then I can make it as tall as I like. So now you get to kind of play a little bit and put it in where you like it. So maybe this comes up just a little bit. This comes over a little bit. This then comes in just a tad bit. And now we can move our grass a little bit. We're going to change this to yellow. I selected it. I come up here to the yellow square and I hit black. Now, once I like where everything is, right, we're going to select it all, come over to our right-hand panel, and you can see what all is selected here. We've got our weld result, our branch, our grass, our Happy Father's Day, and our white square. And now we come down to the bottom where it says flatten, left click, and it's all flattened on there. So there it is, all finished. All right, so there's that. That wasn't too hard, right? All right, now we're gonna come in and do our inside. So we can bring this back now. We've got all of that done. Here's our inside. We're gonna get our text. Bring this over here so you can see. I double click so that I can change my text. And I just start typing at my keyboard. Wishing you, whoops, a wonderful day. Now, let's say you don't want Cricut Sans, you want the one I used. So we're simply going to come up here, select it again, come up here to this top where it says Cricut Sans right now, click the little arrow or caret. We're going to just type in the name, Cochin. And there it is. So now I just left click and it changed it. You can also play with your font by changing your line space by making it a little bit smaller if you like so. I'm going to make it a little smaller here. I want to make sure this is the darkest black. There we go. I'm going to bring it over onto this piece, which is our inside. Don't worry about getting it exactly centered because you can do what I just did by selecting them both like so. I did this with my mouse. Come up to align here at the top, left click, center. That puts it in the very center. It centers it both vertically and horizontally. Now, if you're like me and you want a little more room to write, you can just simply use the arrow on your keyboard and bump it up a little bit. That gives you a little more room to write a short message there if you like. Again, select them all, your verbiage with your rectangle, I almost said paper, and come over here to the right hand column here and flatten. Now, if we bring my card back, you can see that I have stenciled that, all right, and inked it. All right, let's go back. The way I did that is I took this piece of paper or rectangle, which is the same size as our card front. I came over to Shapes, left click, picked up this oval, left click, close this, bring it in. Up here, I can rotate. Okay, this is up here between the size and the position. And I can just swipe over and at my keyboard, just type in 90 and then click. Then I can come here and I can make it whatever size I like. Now, when I'm choosing a size, I just bring it over like this and I just do it here. I decide, okay, how much of this do I want covered? Okay, think about like that, all right? Or maybe just a smidge more. Right? Then I come over and I position it over the top of my rectangle. I then select my rectangle and I select the oval. Now I'm going to come back and grab this rectangle. I'm going to turn that into a basic cut by clicking this caret or arrow where it says print and cut. Just come down and hit basic. I'm going to change it back to white so it's easy to see. Or maybe I'll even make it yellow. There we go. Now I'm going to come in, select these two with my mouse, align center. I have these two selected. I'm going to come down to slice. And there it is. Now, when you cut this, this is how much is going to be inked. All right, so we've covered making a stencil. We've covered altering an image. And we talked about how to find image sets and how to find images within image sets. So we covered quite a few little things today. Let's head on over to the craft table and let's put this card together. We are at the craft table. And as you can see, I've gathered my different pieces. I have already taped down my top piece. Here's the designer pieces of paper along with my inside sentiment and my black card blank. I have some ink, champagne, cashmere, and a little bit of flaxen. I'm going to go ahead and start with the inking of the inside of that stencil. You can see that I have taken masking tape and taped down the stencil over the top. When you do this, you want to make sure that your inside piece isn't going to slide around. I tried to keep the darkest colors to the outside and keep it a little lighter on the inside of my stencil. And there it is, complete. Next, I'm going to take my pieces and start adhering, but first I need to ink up my sentiment piece. I didn't want that just blaring white on the inside. I thought that looked a little too stark. So I just inked it a little bit. All that's left to do is just adhere the card. So I'm just taking my ATG, running it along and adhering all of the pieces. I don't usually measure, I just eyeball and hold it on. So it makes it pretty simple. I decided I wanted to put something else on there, but still keep it masculine. So I went with this black ribbon with gold trim and just folded it over and glued it on with my ATG. Adding the ribbon was going to cause a little lump or bump when I taped it onto the front of the card. So I decided I would go ahead and just notch out that little bit and put it on a little bit of cereal board, and then that would lift it up off of the card base. So I just cut that notch, and now I'm just going to use my ATG and tape that right over the top layer. Now it lays very cleanly, very flat onto the card base. I'm going to adhere all of this with some double stick tape and my Fabric-Tac glue. That way it'll give it a little more security, and if I don't get it exactly straight, the glue will give me some wiggle room. All right, hey, this concludes this card. That wraps it up. We covered a lot in Cricut Design Space. So again, any comments or questions, I am more than happy to get back to you. I hope this gave you some simple ideas for a quick Father's Day card or wedding card. This would work for a lot of different occasions depending upon what you choose to put on the front. Hey, have a wonderful day, and I'll catch up with you in the next video. Bye.